Greetings fellow sim racers. As we all know, there's been an update for Gran Turismo and the physics changes have split the community, with all the top players, all the top content creators all saying it's a mess and it's just been ruined. These guys mostly race cars on slicks, and even I think a Snake Pit is saying 50% say it's worse. I would say only the people who are good and race on slicks and do GR cars, daily races, all that stuff, league racing, I would say that's probably 5 or 10%. The majority I'm seeing are other people who mostly play in road cars, from what I can see. You do get some GR players, and as far as I can see, they're either not very good, no disrespect, or they playing road cars. And you can see some of these things going around on Facebook, and that makes me think maybe it's slick tyres that are a problem, and they're just way too grippy. But the road tyres that all these people are saying that it's decent are what's actually good. So, test. So, physics test. No idea where the braking points will be, I just know they're a lot later. So I would be braking at this white marker, but I'm going to go past that. Oh my god! That's just stupid. That's just stupid. It's got the brakes on this put a Formula 1 car to shame. I mean a modern Formula 1 car. Now this is the most fiddly, difficult car to drive in Group 4. And it's absolutely planted. I'm going full throttle around these. God, I could have gone so much faster around there as well. Right, I normally brake there, but I'm going to brake here. And that's still too early. Normally I'd accelerate on that sausage curb, but that was actually before then. Didn't straddle that curb properly though. I mean, these corners, that's just flat out. That's just like... Right, so... bit of commentary. So this, I'd normally brake in at this little white marker, Marshall's car gap thing on the inside, which is just there. But I'm going way past it. And it still makes the corner. Whacking it right over those curbs. This, bare this of lift, look. That's it. That's all it took. And then I got in a bit of trouble and I just cranked a bit more steering lock on. And it just went round the corner. And that was it. Really late on there. Almost on the power, almost, I was never really off the power. On the power straight away. The back end should be all over the place, but it's not. Braking about 5 meters later there, early on the power, way early, got almost a bit of drift going on. Almost, well, kind of a little bit. This I could probably have taken in third. This again was almost flat. It's just the smallest of lifts, and then so early, usually not on the power till you see the end of the that white triangular bit at the end of the curb, and I'm on it about a second early. 100-meter board rather than 150, and it's still too early on the brakes. Stand on the throttle on the exit. and then usually wait for this sausage curb here before you go, but I'm going before that, and it still just goes around the corner. I could have gone even earlier. Missed that a little bit, but I was still on the throttle really early. On the brakes, way too late. Still got too much turn and went over that sausage curb. Didn't mean to do that. Rid that one. And this is just flat. And that's just like... there's still a skill to it, but there's less skill to it by a huge margin. Man, that's... yeah. Yeah. So, slick tyres are clearly too good, too fast, too boring, too stable, too easy. That GT86 used to be quite a handful, especially if you're racing it against other GR4 cars and they weren't in the GT86. So it was a real good sort of aliens challenge, and I think a lot of people liked it for that as well. But now I'm thinking, yeah, those slick tyres, way too good. What if I put comfort softs on instead? Now that should make the car completely undrivable. I've tried this before. I've tried it in GT3 cars as well, GR3 cars as well as GR4s, months, years ago, just for a laugh, and it was impossible to drive them. They're just spinning out everywhere, including this thing. So this should be completely and utterly undrivable, and that's what I was thinking. But I thought maybe those road car tyres, the comforts and the sports, are actually really good. Some more sort of live commentary thing as I critique a lap. So I'm now going to brake roughly at that white marker on the inside there for turn 1, as I would do before the physics, and I've got into the corner and that's kind of alright. But what you're looking at now is, look at my throttle and brakes, but look at my throttle, look at that big lift around that corner. And I'm fighting with the wheel, so it's not going straight. This is kind of how it was on, say, racing hard tyres. And then braking at the normal braking points that you would have done before the physics update, the Group 4, just before that bridge. Floating it round, drifting with the steering, braking on that tyre mark, waiting for it to get into the corner and finessing the throttle before you start coming out the corner, getting a bit of a drift going. Again, braking on before that, just on that start of that curve. Definitely a second gear corner, not a third gear corner. The turn 10, I think they call it, big lift, even a dab of the brakes, waiting before you get the power on, and then it's a kind of a bit of a drift on the exit. This is a hell of a lot more fun, and probably maybe a little bit more tricky, but the slides are more controllable, so it's less twitchy than the old physics on slicks. So that's extra slip angle is making it a bit more fun. So look at this, waiting, get the power down, and then it starts floating out, and you've got a nice gentle slide to the exit. So ran, I think, a bit of the dirt there, but anyway, whatever, you get the idea. Again, it's all just a finesse and a bit of a glide, and being patient and controlling your speed, controlling your angle into the corner, and that was fun. That was actually good. So I thought, okay, let's try these other cars. So the Elantra, which has been turned into the massive meta car by a huge margin, it's seconds a lap faster than some cars on the new physics on racing tyres. Comfort softs again, and these are all BOP setups. So I've copied BOP setups. They're approximate BOP setups. So going into turn 1, understeer, and then trying to get on the power, and straight away I'm having to lift and feather because I'm wheel spinning and understeering out. More than would have happened before the physics, yes, granted, but this, in well, one corner, but in 3 corners is driving completely differently to that the GT86. Look at how much I just can't get on the power around this corner. Again, looking at throttle, brakes, you're having to trail the brakes more, you're having to brake harder, longer, harder, later into the corner. You can't get the power down, so nearly went off the track there through understeer. I mean, it's just like just a quick test lap sort of thing. And again, waiting, can't get full power. It's just going to understeer out. And you think this is a bag of bolts as I understeer out there. Yeah, you think this is a bag of bolts, terrible, and looks completely undrivable. But I did a 206.9 in the GT86 on these Comfort soft tyres. So real fight to get in that corner. Can't really have to wait to get the power down because I'm just going to steer out. Same with this one, which is legendary for having to wait to get in the power. There's that sausage curb, still not on full power, only towards the exit of the corner I'm getting full power. But even though this is understeering horribly, there's a lot more racing brain going on, a lot more patience, as I say, finesse the car around the lap, have to wait for the car to be ready before you can actually wait for things to load up. So 206.9, 206.1, still a faster car. Still probably a meta car, who knows. Okay, let's do mid-engine rear-wheel drive car then. One that's really about handling and really about maximising your corner speed. So we pick the 4C and go on a lap. And again, the braking points are all pretty much the same in all these cars I tried. And so you're looking for a lap time around a 206. Looking for that white mark on the inside, braking right on it, and just making the corner, having to wait for the throttle a bit. Mid-engine cars hate going over inside curbs now in the power. Slightest touch of a curb and you're in trouble. And that's not going to change, so I think that makes mid-engine cars useless anyway. Doesn't matter the tyres, it's just as bad on road tyres. Old Group 4 braking point on Comfort softs. This car should be all over the place on Comfort softs on the old physics. And look at it, it's driving quite happily. It's slow. The corner speeds are really slow. But look at these slides coming out the corners. That's graceful. That tyre slip angle really works on these road tyres. So this is why I'm thinking the people who saying the physics are crap are the people who compete on slicks, and the slicks are just way too grippy. So again, I think I got a nice drift coming out of this corner. Barely had to turn the wheel on the exit. So they got these, slick tyres which are just way too grippy. Whereas the people who don't really compete, because maybe they're not very good or just don't like that or drive the road cars, are on road tyres probably a lot of the time, on Comforts and the softs. And they're getting this response, which is tyres and cars which slide a lot more gracefully and controllably and slowly. And I mean, where's the twitch? We'll probably get something going over these curbs. Yeah, a bit of a twitch there, but that was it. Everything else, don't touch the inside curb. Look at that. Well, that nearly put me out. The slightest touch that inside curb on power. But anyway, 206, 206.4. So, okay, I go for one of my old favourites around Barcelona, a car which turns on power, or on BOP, turned on power the most, from what I roughly determine. But it would understeer into corners because it's heavy. So I'm putting the brake balance in the middle all the time, so I'm not going to use brake balance to sort it out. It's all brake balance at 0. So again, on Comfort softs, I'm going to go for that braking mark on the inside, and that's the old braking mark for old Group 4 cars on slick tyres. It makes the corner. I can pretty much floor it round here, coming out these corners. Still got to do a big lift through turn 3, because that's what you have to do in turn 3. You don't just go flat out like like you can on these new slick tyres and these new physics. Having to finesse that in there, a little bit of a twitch on the brakes because it didn't want to go completely in a straight line, so probably a bit too hard on the brakes, but full power on the exit, but it kind of turned round, and that's alright. And again, braking in, waiting before going full power, but going full power earlier than the other cars. Again, this is driving completely differently to the GT86 and the 4C I tried earlier. So totally different cars. Again, this will be a big lift and a big weight, dabbing brakes and waiting for a bit earlier full power, but it's every single corner on these Comfort soft tyres, you're feeling a bit of slip and a bit of drift, and a bit of extra input is going to have to happen. You know, lift, throttle, brakes, steering wheel, whatever. But there's a little bit having to happen. This corner, again, good test for understeer, oversteer, waiting, not full power before going full power, but it gets around the corner nice. This one's terrible for understeer usually, it's slightly off camber downhill, but again, you can get around it. This goes over the curbs better on full throttle, that was fine with that. And that was actually quite a fun lap. And then you look at the lap time again, 2:06.5. One lap out, it's 2 laps, 1 lap out. You know, it's like the lap times are all similar. There's no meta car which is several seconds faster, which is what I'm finding on the slicks in Group 4s at the minute. So, kind of going in my old GT Sport, certainly. Alien Killing Machine, a Sirocco. Front wheel drive car. And just like the Elantra, massive power on understeer. Couldn't properly get the power down. You can see the throttle trace having to lift. Big lift through this corner. Can't get on full throttle at all. And straight away it feels really slow. Going right out to the outside of the corner because I can't do anything about it. And you think, oh yeah, God, this is, you know, one of these cars, or maybe several of these cars, is going to be horribly, horribly slow going by the new physics on the slicks. But you find it won't be. So again, waiting to get on the power in second gear. In third, it's still scrabbling for grip, but it's not wheel spinning in fourth. Second gear is pretty messy, so that's a low speed run in third gear there. Could have gone second, but I'd have just wheel spun and understeered out. In the end of the third gear, having to wait. Can't quite get full power before you get into the exit of the corner. Not as understeery as the Elantra, not as fast in a straight line as the Elantra, but again, it's driving differently. So the cars are much more different. The braking points are about the same, because the tyres and weight, I'm guessing, is all about the same, but how you're going around the corner, when you're putting the power on, and how you're coming out of the corner. Oh, that's the one where I ran on the dirt a little bit. So understeered out. But they're all driving like different cars. So I would go, I mean, despite obviously these tyres being slow and not having a lot of grip and making everything much slower, it's actually making for a better kind of drive. 2:06.2. Similar lap time. Okay, let's try the Genesis. This was a kind of an erratic, as far as the Group 4s go anyway, a bit like the Toyota GT86. It was a kind of temperamental psycho car, really, if you want to call it that. That first lap was a 2:07 or something. I think there was a mistake on that lap, so I thought I'd do a second one. Same braking point, the old braking point on Group 4 slicks. And again, can't go full throttle around turn 2. And turn 3, waiting to get on the power, but comes round. So again, doing micro corrections on the wheel, but it's round the corner and it's fine. Braking in the usual Group 4 slick braking point. Can't get on the power, can't get fully on the power, and now I am, but then there's a bit of a twitch, but it's controllable, measurable, feelable slide. And the little correction was all it needed, didn't really cost me any time. and then again waiting to come out, and then a little bit of slide on the rear, but again controlled with the steering, and didn't lift, so it didn't really lose me any time, not much. It's fun, you know, it's behaving like a car. Again, into the corners, having to wait, full power, got a bit of a four-wheel drift going on. And I'm going to brake at the 150 meter board, which is there, and makes the corner. I'm going to trail the brakes as you would, and again it's like almost like the Group 4 cars were on hard slicks almost, but the slip that's allowed on the tyres now makes it more controllable, more fun, less twitchy. And yeah, it's slow, but this will put the skill gap back where it should be. Absolutely back where it should be. And the lap time? 2:06.9. It's about the same. Now here's the thing, is what I'm thinking. If they keep these physics, and I expect because of the backlash they're going to change things anyway, because they're weak. But anyway, if they keep these physics, what they need is a tyre model for road cars, which is a comfort and a soft tyre model that works for road cars, and then have a completely separate slick tyre model. 2 different tyre models in the game. Why don't they just do that? And then you can have a slick tyre with a slip angle, with a bit less grip, whatever, that kind of makes it a bit more like those comfort soft tyres we're responding, but with more grip. Why don't they just do that? Or they're going to have to change the physics back or alter them to something else, because the slick tyres are just, as everyone has said, there's just way too much grip, and the way the physics are working. Forget the things about the damper changes, which has made mid-engine cars now completely undrivable, or not undrivable, a disadvantage, massive disadvantage over curbs, inside curbs on the power. For some reason, lifting that inside front wheel up rather than increase the contact patch on the outside rear seems to overload that contact patch, and then you just got a massive slide going on, which is just like, and forget about, you know, the grass is now like ice rather than grass, and blah blah blah. Keep all that if they must, but they absolutely have to change those thick tyre physics. They just, oh god. I haven't really tried the GT3 cars properly yet. I don't think I want to, but I will try them. Maybe not on comfort softs, but maybe on sports tyres. I bet they actually handle a lot more like GT3 cars, which is the graceful slide, the manageable slide, which has to be controlled by many levels of traction control, 8-10 levels, double traction control on engine and drivetrain and all that sort of stuff that real GT3 cars have, and just graceful sliding, and it's about car management, tyre management, fuel management, not just whack the throttle on, stand on the brakes, whack the steering in, mash the throttle on the way out. Oh, God. Wrong. Anyway, this is going to turn into a rant, so I'm going to cut that short. You get the idea. If you're going to run a lobby, if you're going to run a league, do it with comfort soft tyres on Group 4 cars, and I suspect it's going to be sports tyres on GT3s, and you're going to have a game which people who know how to drive are going to really enjoy, I reckon. They're going to be slow, but that's fine. It's league. It's not, doesn't matter. You're not competing. It's not going to help the daily drivers, of course. Anyone who does daily races and time trials is still screwed. But if you're going to do private lobbies, public lobbies, league racing, don't run the slicks. It's going to be crap.